Yes, there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95, and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down, and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.
Hey guys, happy Thursday. Carmine Bianco with the Thursday edition of Puck Time. Andrew's off today. He's got a doctor's appointment. He will be back tomorrow to lead the ship. And it'll also see the return of 6 and 60. We took last week off while I recovered from Vegas. With me today, Bryan Leonard stepping in his usual Thursday spot. Before I go to Bryan, I just want to thank everyone who came along yesterday with my 5% play. The over in the Detroit and New York Rangers game, that one was 3-3 halfway through the second period. So that was a winner at that point. So I was pretty happy about hitting that one, and a good start to the week, 5-0 NHL. Hope to keep it going. And don't forget, we have that promo that is still up at the rest of the NHL season, regular season, for only $1.99 by using coupon code NHL199 when you're checking out. Bryan, we saw at the top of the just before the show started, the MLB early bird package. You're one of I'm going to be doing MLB, but I'm going to suggest if anyone's picking up that early bird package, you are fantastic in MLB. Your knowledge is great. I'm looking forward to talking baseball with you all season long, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you for mentioning that. I've been told that today probably is going to be the last day to get that special. I believe it was $6.99, something in that regard, for the entire season. They're selling 50, and I think they're almost to that level right now. So if you're looking to do it, today's probably going to be your last day for that big savings. But yeah, I've made my career off of baseball, and unfortunately, last year I lost, and I lost big. I was terrible last year in baseball. I don't know what it was, but I've been working on baseball already for a month now, and the previous 4 years, all winning years since I've been on over at WagerTalk, and last year didn't do well. So usually we always say find a winning handicapper and get them off of a loss or a bad streak. This is the time to do it if you're looking for my baseball. This is a great time to get it. I'm really upset about the way it turned out last year, and maybe I was resting on my laurels too much. Who the hell knows? But 4 winning years, and I lost last year. I'm bouncing back big time this year.
I'm looking forward to Bryan. Like I said, I am going to be bouncing some of my plays off of you to see whether they pass the sniff test and you like them or not. Guys, 4 games on today's schedule that we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss the New York Islanders, Columbus Blue Jackets, Winnipeg and Toronto, Pittsburgh and Minnesota, and then we're going to finish it off with the LA Kings in the second half of the Alberta double as they play the Calgary Flames tonight. But let's lead off with the first game, Columbus and the New York Islanders. Let's have a look at the numbers here. The Islanders minus 190 at home, Columbus plus 170. The total sits at 6 here. I'm looking at this game, and this is the second straight game between these two. They played in Columbus with the Islanders getting a 4-3 win there. We're likely going to see the same goalies here. Sorokin likely won't be in goal. It was Varlamov in goal last time out, and it looks like he might be the starter here again. Sorokin took a couple pucks to the head, as I mentioned, and he's listed as upper body injury. And Merzlikins in goal for Columbus. Bryan, I look at this, and this is the third game this month between these two teams. 4-3 for the Isles in Columbus, 6-0 at home against this Columbus team. Isles 7-3 their last 10 at home. And I've talked about the Islanders and the fact that they've long since been eliminated, but this is a team that is not going to tank in the second half of the season. This is a team that Trotz is going to continue to have his guys out there playing hard hockey and finishing the season strong. This isn't about draft pick positioning, but just finishing the season off that started off with that disastrous 13-game road trip, and then COVID issues, which pretty much derailed this team from having any chance of a playoff spot. And they were favored to win the Metro this year, so that tells you a lot about this team. While I don't want to lay $1.90 with this team at home, I will take the regulation line here. I think they get it done again against a Columbus team that is struggling, and you'll pay a lot less juice by taking the Isles in regulation. So that's where I'm going here on this one. Isles in regulation for me. Brian?
Well, if you're looking at what they've done, goals plus or minus per 65 on 5 for the last month, that would make sense, as the Islanders are up 0.13 and the Jackets are down 0.86. So basically there's a 1-goal differential per game on 5 on 5. But I look a little bit deeper and I look at the expected goals. And while the Jackets are still weak in that regard, down 0.83, the Islanders haven't been much better. They're down 0.52. So they've been a little bit lucky this month for the Islanders. And you mentioned it, the teams that just played the other day. Columbus loses at home. And now they got to go on the road to the Islanders here. But I kind of like take a chance here with Columbus. They're the better rested team. This is only their second game in 5 days. They're off of that home loss to the Islanders 4-3 last time out. You got an Islanders team that wins that road game, is now back home. The Islanders have been very fortunate from a scheduling standpoint. The second half of this month, ever since the 13th, they've been playing a game, then they had the next day off. Play a game, had the next day off. I think if you were to ask anybody plays in the NHL, that's probably the perfect schedule. And most of these games have been home. When they've had to travel, it hasn't been long distances. They went to Washington. They played the New York Rangers, Philadelphia, Boston, and Columbus. So they've been in that general area the entire time. And so they've been very lucky with their schedule. Whereas, as I said, Columbus has had just be their second game in 5 days. And they have not played well. They've lost, 4 straight games coming into this game. So when you play a team in back-to-back situations, I'm always looking to take the team who lost that first game if there's reasons behind it. And I think this line's a little too high here. 190 for the Islanders. I'm seeing, a little bit higher in some places. So I'm taking the 170 here with Columbus. I like Columbus here, and I think it's a situation where the line is just too high. And the schedule is a little bit better here for Columbus. The Islanders have been very fortunate in what they've done lately. I will take the underdog here.
All right. It's Bryan Leonard of WagerTalk.com with his thoughts on the Columbus New York Islanders game. And right off the top, we already disagree on one game. That's good. I call it the Don Buster effect when we disagree. Anyone disagrees on this show. So that's always a good thing. All right, guys, let's look at the second game. This one north of the border here in Toronto at the Scotiabank. Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets. The Leafs, a juicy minus 230 here. Winnipeg plus 190. The total sits at 6.5. Winnipeg on the tail end of a back-to-back. They played last night, won in a shootout in Buffalo. And just some news with regards to this Winnipeg Jets team. Kyle Connor will not play tonight. He did not play yesterday. Along with Nate Schmidt, he won't play either. They both tested positive yesterday. They could not play in Buffalo. And oddly enough, the rules in Canada, today is the last day in Canada where you need to test to get in or out of Canada. As of April 1st, you can get in and out of Canada without testing. So they can't even come in for this game tonight. They are in Michigan waiting to fly back to Winnipeg. So they won't be in the lineup tonight for this Leafs team. It's likely going to be Calgary in net tonight for the Leafs. Mrazek left in that game against Boston getting injured. And Campbell is almost ready to return from that rib injury, so he's still not available. And it looks like it'll be Comrie in goal for Winnipeg. As I mentioned, the second of a back-to-back between these two. Bryan, I'm going to go to you and just give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, you mentioned Winnipeg yesterday. I had Winnipeg, and I was lucky to get that victory. If you looked at the expected goals in that game, they were outplayed by Buffalo. They were able to get that win. That was an important win because now they got to go on the road, play shorthanded, and go on the road and play at Toronto, a team that's obviously got better talent than what you have. I like the favorite here in Toronto. That's been something that has not been a good thing on the season because Toronto, every time they play, they seem to play up or down to their competition. So even though they've got a decent record against losing teams and teams in this price range, they should have been better. And that's the only drawback about playing Toronto. We've talked about that before. It's tough to lay a number with this team because they're so all over the place. But I like them tonight. Wyoming. Winnipeg playing back-to-back games. You take a look at over the last month, 5-on-5. The Jets have been just as good, goals plus or minus per 60 on 5-on-5. But if you take a look deeper into the expected goals, they've been a little bit lucky. They should be down 0.23, whereas the Maple Leafs are only plus 0.08, and they should be up over a goal, 1.06 in expected goals. So Toronto's a team that is playing much better than what they're actually scoring in the games. And now they're back home right here against this team. And, they've gotten some confidence the last two times out, played two very good teams in Florida and Boston and win both of those games. And I was on Boston there. They had a 5% play and I lost. And Boston was never in that game. Toronto just completely dominated them. I think Toronto right now is a team I'm looking to buy on. I mentioned Winnipeg playing the second of a back-to-back. This is also their third straight overtime game, and now they're going into Toronto in the second of a back-to-back situation here. I like Toronto. I think because of what the Maple Leafs have done in the role of a big favorite this year, they burned a lot of people. I think we've got a little bit of an advantage here. Lined up in $2, now up to I'm even seeing a $2.40 out there. But if you can get in the $2.35 or less range, I like Toronto. I think they have a good spot here, and I think they win this one going away.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Bryan. When I look at this game, I sort of think of something, that Dave Koken would mention on previous Puck Time shows over the last couple of years, which is, if you want to bring that vig down on the Leafs, you can literally split your bet into taking the Leafs on the money line, let's say minus 230-ish or so, and then taking the Leafs on the puck line where you're getting plus 105, and you bring the overall number down literally to like a minus one in the game, a minus one, and about a minus 130, minus 140 type of price. So that's likely where I'm leaning. I might look at the Leafs puck line. I might look at the Leafs in regulation, minus 130. You look at quality opponents for Winnipeg over their last 15 games or so, and there's really not a lot. While they're getting wins, they're getting wins versus non-playoff type teams. And, a couple wins over, I think, the Vegas Golden Knights. But the Knights aren't world beaters right now. So I think their only quality win over the last 15 games is likely when they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning at home. I think it was 7-4. Not having Kyle Connor is a big miss. He's their leading goal scorer. If you're going to play the Leafs in Toronto and you want to beat them, you need your full lineup and your full arsenal out there. And not having him in the lineup is a big miss. So I'll take the Leafs in regulation time here as my play. All right, guys, let's head over to this. Likely is the biggest game of the night. Pittsburgh Penguins and Minnesota. Line on this one, Minnesota minus 120. Pittsburgh even money. The over-unders 6.5 here. This has been a great homestand for this Minnesota team. They lost their first game of this 9-game homestand. They've reeled off 7 straight wins, and they'll finish it off here with Pittsburgh. But it's going to be Talbot in goal tonight and not Fleury before they hit the road for 4 very tough games. Pittsburgh comes in. It'll likely be Jari here. Pittsburgh has cooled down a little bit, but if you look at their losses, one was a loss to the Sabres in OT with the Smith in net, and then a couple losses to the New York Rangers, who are playing some lights out hockey themselves. Bryan, I think Pittsburgh, I'll get to the point here. I think Pittsburgh's a live dog here off that loss to the Rangers. I wish I was getting some more plus money, and I think that's not going to happen because of the fact that it's Talbot in goal tonight. If it was Fleury in goal facing his former team, I think we'd end a 7-game win streak for this Wild team. We would probably see Minnesota a little higher, maybe minus 130, minus 135, and we'd get Pitt at plus 115, and I would jump all over that. At even money, is there still value in this Pittsburgh team?
Yeah, I just played at a plus 103 here at Circa, and I don't think the pluses are going to be around much longer. You mentioned Talbot being in goal here. If you look at the 5-on-5 stats over the last month, these teams are exactly the same. They played exactly the same. I believe they're up 0.71 goals per 60 minutes on 5-on-5. And if you look at expected goals, they're both about the same. So both teams playing well over the last month. I like the Pittsburgh spot here. You've got a team that has lost 3 of the last 4 games. The only win was the 11-goal performance in Detroit. Then after that, they come out and lose to the Rangers 3-2. I think they came into that game maybe a little bit overconfident. After you score 11 goals, I mean, you would probably think that. So now they got to go on the road and play Minnesota. And the last 2 times they went on the road, they lost to the Rangers and lost to Buffalo in a shootout. So I know what we're going to get out of Pittsburgh tonight. Pittsburgh's the team that is fighting for the best spot they can get in the playoffs. They're struggling a little bit right now, haven't played well lately. This is their chance to make a statement here against a Minnesota team who everybody seems to love. And I guess I can't disagree with them, is they bring in Fleury, and that was the weakness, excuse me, for this team. But you take a look at Minnesota, you couldn't ask for a better schedule that they've had, especially in the second half of this month. They've been home since the 13th of the month. They've only played back-to-back games once, and that was at home on the 26th and 27th. And then they start next month. On the 2nd, on Saturday, they've got 4 games on the road against Carolina, Washington, Nashville, and St. Louis, so that's not going to be easy. So you got a team feeling real good about themselves right now, and you got a Pittsburgh team coming into town who's a little bit down, and Minnesota's got the backup goalie in, who has not been good this year, although he's been a little bit better lately. I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I like Pittsburgh. Like I said, I just took the 103 at Circa. And anything at minus 105 or less, I think, is value here on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Bryan, we're going to agree on this one. And this is something that I'll keep an eye on throughout the day. I'm just going to search some of my outs and see if I can find any plus money on Pittsburgh. I know it's been a great homestand for this Minnesota team. Winning 7 straight, and they've got that. And I'm sure they're resting Fleury with an eye on him playing a majority of those 4 road games, and that's a tough road trip for them coming up. So we'll see if they can take the momentum of what they've built at home onto the road. Any thoughts? I know you're not a totals guy, but I look at these 7 games that they've won, and it's littered with unders. 6 unders, 1 push against the Bruins in that 4-2. The only game that went over the total was the first game in which they lost 6-2 to the Predators. But even that game, they pulled their goalie with about 3.5 minutes left, a couple empty netters for the Predators to finish that game 6-2. But there's a lot of unders, 6 straight unders, I believe, for them. And this total sitting at 6.5, I believe. Any thoughts on this total?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit correlated to what you like in the game here. Minnesota is going to be at their best when they play Minnesota type of hockey. They're a physical team, and they've got now they got Fleury, and they've got an experienced goalie heading into the playoffs. So I would think they are probably at their best when they are playing a defensive battle. Pittsburgh's just the opposite. Pittsburgh is going to be better when they're scoring. So if you like Pittsburgh, I think the over makes a little bit of sense here. But yeah, it looks to be about 6.5 minus 120 to the under So I think it all depends on which side you like. And once again, I prefer the Pittsburgh side, so leaning with the over here.
Okay, well, we're going to disagree on that one just because I'm leaning to the under. I can see Pittsburgh winning a 3-1 game. I'd be happy with that. But I don't think Minnesota only gets one at home. But we'll see. Jari's having a fantastic season. I think he's 8-2. I think he has the last 10 games. I think the only losses were to these New York, the 2 losses to the New York Rangers. So there's no shame in losing to the Rangers. They're playing some very good hockey right now. All right, guys, let's look at the last game on the schedule. Calgary Flames and the LA Kings. Kings playing the second half of the Alberta double. They lose yesterday to the Edmonton Oilers in OT. Flames minus 275 at home. The LA Kings plus 235. The total sits at 6 here. Brian, the Kings gave the Oilers a game last night, and I thought they would. I thought off that completely embarrassing loss at home to the Kraken, and you called the Kraken in that game, so kudos to you at a big price. But I thought they played, it was a high-scoring game, but I thought they played extremely well defensively in that game. And as they go into this one, it's likely going to be Peterson and Markstrom in goal tonight. I think we might see a similar strong defensive game by the Kings against this Flames squad. I'm not going to take them to win. I just can't put money on any team going into Calgary, especially on the second of a back-to-back after having played the Oilers. But I'm leaning to the under here. The total's at 6 right now. Can you talk me off that, or can you give me a side?
I don't have anything on the total here, but this line looks awful high, doesn't it? They opened at 260. I'm seeing it. DraftKings has got $3, but mostly in the 280 range. If you take a look at what these teams done over the last month, you've got a 2-goal advantage for a game in 5-on-5 for Calgary. There is 0.94, whereas the Kings are minus 1.06. But expected goals, the Kings are actually a little bit ahead. So they played with a lot of bad luck over the last month or so. And in fact, yesterday's game against Edmonton, if you look at the expected goals, LA was a better team. I thought if they could get through the overtime, I thought the LA Kings were going to win, and then they lose in the shootout. So playing the back-to-back is never easy, especially when you're playing against a Calgary team here that's playing as well as they have. But Calgary's been very fortunate with their schedule. A lot of home games, a tremendous amount of home games this month. They've got another one coming up on Saturday, I believe, against St. Louis before they start going on the road. But, the Kings have also been a pretty good team from a schedule standpoint. Since the 10th of the month, they've only gone on the road 3 times so far. San Jose, which is in California, Vegas, just a short drive from LA. And so they've been, they should be pretty well rested overall coming in here, although they did play last night. I just think the line is too high. Calgary has just been so good. It's hard to go against them. But there's no way I can lay that number here with Calgary. LA's team still, in the playoff chase. They now need to worry about the Golden Knights, even though they played the same amount of games. They're a few points ahead. But there's not a lock that LA's going to make the playoffs here. Every game is important for LA at this point. They're obviously the underdog in this game, but I think they give them a pretty good game here. I may end up playing LA plus the 1.5 goals here. That's something I'm always taking a look at. And let's take a look right here and see what you get here for the spread. Right now it's like minus 110, minus 105. So if I can get LA at plus money at plus 1.5, I think I'm going to put a little bit of a bet on that one. I think they come out tonight and give them a really good game. And Calgary's living off the rollers a little bit, and they're set up pretty good here. So the game obviously means more to LA. But if I can get the 1.5 plus money, I'll be on the Kings tonight.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with, the thing is, as you said, the Flames have been playing at such a high level, and I'm pretty happy with where they are right now, leading the Pacific, because I have a bet on them to win the Pacific, and that's looking good. And I also have a dinner bet with the Prez, who said that the Flames would not make the playoffs. that one is blown up on him as they're looking to lock up a spot soon. But look at these games, and you mentioned the LA Kings and needing a game. Now, needing doesn't equate to winning games, but also we talk about these high-priced teams, and a lot of these minus 250 and higher teams have gone down in this month of March, and it's been the scheduling. You talked about the Islanders having an easy schedule. We'd look at the opposite end, and you look at teams like Tampa Bay, who have suffered some losses. They played 6 games in 11 days with a travel in between on the West Coast, and then head back home, lose one to the Rangers as a huge favorite in that game. A team being minus 250 or higher doesn't equate to an automatic win. You're going to have to look at these games a little deeper and either pass on them, because playing 250 or higher is just right now, especially in this month of March, where all the games were condensed because February was supposed to be the Olympic month for the NHL, so the schedule remained the same for March, condensing the schedules for a lot of the teams to get the games in before the playoffs rolled around. You've got to be very careful laying these big numbers from here on out, especially looking at scheduling. But taking the puck line here might not be a bad idea, Brian, with the fact that if the Kings play a tough defensive game and try just get this into OT, that point is valuable for them. So I'll agree with you on taking the plus 1.5 here, because you're laying minimal or no juice as the action comes in on a Calgary team that's steamed from a minus 260 opener to a minus 290 in this game. All right, guys, those are the 4 games. We're going to get into the best bet segment. Bryan, I'm going to go to you first, of course. Let us know what you have up at WagerTalk and what your best bet on the show is.
I just want to touch on that LA Calgary game. Who would Calgary rather play in the playoffs? Golden Knights team, fully healthy, without the with all the guys back there, without the salary cap type of thing that they have in the playoffs, or would they rather play the LA Kings? I'm not saying a team's going to lose on purpose, but wouldn't that be something here if Calgary was to lose to LA and make it easier for LA to make the playoffs as opposed to the Vegas Golden Knights? Something to think about. I don't think it's going to happen, but you have to wonder if it's more advantageous for them. But yeah, I've got my card is up for today. I've got 2 plays in the NBA. I've got 3 plays in the NHL. Get them all in the one-day package at $39, or you could buy the individual packages for each sport for $29. Number 2 on the season in the NHL. Number 2 on the season last year in the NHL. And looking to finish the season strong. A nice winning day for us yesterday. I'm going to go back to that game we spoke a little bit earlier as my best bet. And I'm going to take Pittsburgh here. I know we're going to get out of Pittsburgh. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games. They're coming in here a little bit fired up. And you take a Minnesota team who's riding high with all these home games. They're going with the backup goalie in this game tonight. I like the situation here for Pittsburgh. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh. Like I said earlier, minus 105 or less. Hopefully you can still get a plus money there. But I think Pittsburgh wins tonight, and I think we get a great effort out of the Penguins.
All right. Best of luck to you on that one, Bryan. I'll likely be on Pittsburgh as well. Whether it makes my WagerTalk card or not, I'm not really sure, but it'll make my betting card if I can get a good enough price on it. And I think I might have to take it early, because the fact that it's Talbot in goal tonight instead of Fleury means that we're not going to see a lot of money steaming towards Minnesota in that one. Myself, I have a couple plays up at WagerTalk right now in the NHL. 5-0 start to the week with a couple of 5% winners. So I'm looking to hopefully keep this train rolling. I'm going to go back to one of the games we discussed earlier as well, too. I'm going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs in regulation time, minus 130. Winnipeg on the second of a back-to-back. The fact that you have Kyle Connor out of the lineup tonight, and he's their leading goal scorer. You need everyone in your lineup when you're playing the Leafs. The only thing that ever worries me about Toronto, and this is why I won't lay the full game minus 240-ish line on them, is their goaltending right now. It's Calgary in net. Mrazek was injured. Campbell is almost ready to come back for them, which will give them a boost. But until then, I'm going to lay off the big prices with Toronto. I'll look for them to get it done in regulation time. I'll take the Leafs minus 130. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Andrew will be back to steer the ship home. The 6 and 60 segment will be back as well, too, on Friday. We'll have a look at the plays here. I have the Leafs in regulation time. Bryan has Pittsburgh money line at even money. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Good luck with your wagers, guys.
Yes, there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95, and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down, and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.